Good morning from California and welcome again to Wisdom Wednesdays. It's Ariana Newcomer, Dove Oracle Priestess, and today is the 4th of July, our Independence Day in the US. Canada Day was July 1st, so just a few days ago. So for those of us here in North America, this is a time to be aware and be conscious and remember our independence and our sovereignty. I'm just going to bring through some information from Spirit today and just see what comes. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. So let's just take a deep breath. Feel ourselves grounding, getting connected with Mother Earth, connected with Mother Cosmos. And I call on my highest level guides and helpful ancestors and ask that the information that comes through today is what is right, true, and appropriate for those who are watching or who will be watching this video. And so, yeah, these are very intense times. So Spirit is acknowledging that these are very intense times and that it is easy for us to become discouraged. And they would like me to talk more about the word sovereignty. Sovereignty is a really, really important thing in these times, and it's part of the way I was trained as an oracle and the way I work with clients and students. It's that we are sovereign beings, and it is extremely important for us to claim that and to work with that and to make sure that we maintain our sovereignty, because there are so many things that will tend to pull us out of our own true self, our essence, our soul integrity, the integrity of our soul. So our news, the internet, sometimes the opinions of friends, certain religious teachings can actually pull us out of our sovereignty. And this connects with this idea that I've been receiving and that colleagues have been receiving in recent years, that the time of the guru is over. And it's time for us as humans, as individuals, to claim our sovereignty, to understand that we truthfully, as we're doing our own inner work, as we're becoming more coherent and whole within ourselves, that we are our own best guru. And we have so many choices now, so many cultural traditions which have begun to be woven together for us to come into this coherence as a culture also. So that internal coherence is a crucially important piece. So take a breath, and they are just suggesting that we take a moment, each of us, and look inside to see where are the places where we are being pulled out of coherence, out of our internal coherence, and to recognize with love, because if we do this with judgment and shaming and this kind of energy, it isn't going to be helpful. It's not going to work. So our own inner shadow work, our own healing and integrating and coming into wholeness within is our first and primary work. And then to bring that coherence then forward out into the world so that we begin to create that same coherence and wholeness and integrity in the collective. So just take a moment, take another deep breath, take a look within and see, where are the places within where I may be acting in ways that are not fully in integrity with my own internal compass, with my internal integrity, with my soul. And this is an ongoing practice because there are so many ways that we can get just pulled off. And this is actually, they're saying this is a good principle to use in taking a look and understanding what teachings are appropriate for you, what sources of news are appropriate for you. And okay, but it's yeah, so it's really important, they're saying, that our own internal healing take place on an ongoing basis, because otherwise we don't have the amount of discrimination and understanding to actually get what is true for us and what is appropriate for us to receive. I was just working with this kind of principle of sovereignty with a client yesterday, and reminding her that as we connect with spirit, that we can say yes or say no to what we want to receive, what kind of information we want to receive. And so this is also true with caveats for the news, because sometimes we don't want to hear what's going on because it's just really effing upsetting. And right, so when we are creating this coherence and truth within ourselves and being scrupulously honest within, and treating our own inner shadow with love and compassion, and bringing our own shadow parts into integration and wholeness within, then we have the ability to discriminate and understand what is helpful and useful for us and what is not. If we are not doing that work internally, then it is just too easy for us. We humans are so good at just tuning out what we don't want to hear, rationalizing things, convincing ourselves that this is okay or that was all right, when there's an inner prompting that says, mm-mm. So my circle of guides is reminding us all to really pay attention. Pay attention to the inner promptings. Be willing to be uncomfortable for the greater good. If we find ourselves, those times when we find ourselves just rationalizing and saying, oh, well, it was okay that this person did that, or it was okay that I did that, even though there's that inner irk, those are the times when we have to come into that integrity and do the inner work within ourselves. And all right, so our inner work, integrating shadow, and then moving into the collective. So when we come into this integrity within ourselves, then we are able to do our work in the collective in a way that serves the highest good. So treating the collective shadow in the same kind of way, with love, with understanding, with acceptance. So how can we heal this collective shadow, which is so much up in our faces right now? In addition to doing our own inner work, I'm just asking for guidance. Connecting more frequently and in a deeper way with nature. I've been working a lot with trees these last few years. I happen to live on land right next to a lot of forest in the beautiful redwoods in California with extraordinary trees. So connecting with nature, because when we truly connect in a deep way with our natural world, it also helps us. It helps us heal within. And when we add our energy to the web of life in nature, it also helps to heal that web on the planet. So the trees are actually crucially important for us to recognize as allies, because they provide so much more than just, yes, they help create oxygen, but they also help to create rain. They communicate with each other through their root systems underground, through the fungal networks that connect them with each other. They communicate through chemicals that they send out through their leaves. We actually breathe each other. So as we inhale the oxygen that they produce, they take in the carbon dioxide that we exhale, as do all plants. So to recognize this web of life that we are part of, this circle. So take a moment to breathe. As you breathe in, consider that you're breathing in plants. As you exhale, the plants are breathing you in. The plants are breathing us in. We are breathing in the plants. We are all connected. And the way that the winds work, the bacteria, which actually go up in the air and fly around on the winds and come down in different places on the planet, we actually take in to ourselves aspects of the rest of the world. So our idea that we are separate from the natural world is not what is meant by sovereignty. Sovereignty means having free will, having control over ourselves, but it doesn't mean being separate and apart from the web of life. It doesn't mean being separate and apart from the divine. So reconnecting with our deeper layers of spirituality, the truths of the teachings that underlie the world's religions, that in many cases have been distorted over time by having been translated in different ways, added to in different ways for different purposes that don't actually fit with the original teachings. So the original teachings are that we are all connected. We are all interconnected. We are one. We are connected with all other humans, but we are also connected with all life on this planet Earth. And we are connected with the cosmos because of the plasma winds, the star stuff that comes down onto the planet. So again, they're reminding us that we are combined human and divine beings. We come from the stars and we are of the earth. So we are of the earth and of the stars. Okay, so that's a clarification about sovereignty. Sovereignty is taking care to be in sovereign control, as it were, of our own internal space, of our energetic space, so that we don't allow certain kinds of energies to come in that can really disrupt our coherence, wholeness, and integrity. And of course, there's so many of those just zooming around on the planet right now. So it's an interesting paradox, isn't it? Being sovereign as a combined human and divine being, and being part of this web of life, being interconnected through our consciousness, through the subtle realms. And this ability to connect with the subtle realms, they also want me to remind us, is our sovereign birthright, is our natural birthright as human and divine beings. And we have been conditioned out of trusting our intuition, our gut feelings, trusting our body when our body tells us that something is wrong or not right or going badly. So part of reclaiming our sovereignty is reclaiming these natural abilities that we all have to expand our perceptions in ways that are beyond our traditional five senses. Our sight, our touch, our smell, our taste. Sight, touch, smell, taste. What's the other one? Hearing, right? So hearing can be greater. I'm sure everyone has experienced hearing things that you ultimately may have decided weren't really there. What if they are? What if those are messages from spirit in some way, or messages from the natural world in some way? Because human senses are actually limited. Our range of hearing, the frequencies that we can hear and process with our brains are pretty narrow compared to the frequencies that exist. So there are lower frequencies that we can't hear, that elephants can communicate with, that probably the great whales in the oceans can also. The dolphins can create sounds and hear sounds and respond to sounds that are much higher than we can hear. So can other animals like bats and birds. So to recognize the limitations of our five senses and to give ourselves permission to expand our perceptions and use our intuition, our intuitive sense, use our third eye, if you will, and our ability to sense things in our energy fields, those very subtle pieces of information that come in through our energy fields. So suspending judgment is a great way to allow yourself to begin to receive that kind of information. What if the winds are actually speaking to us? What if the trees actually communicate with us? What if we can actually receive and give information with the trees? And I've experienced that myself. Many, many other people on the planet are working with trees in these times. Many of my colleagues are in the priestess community, spiritual community. So, and my guides have been giving this message throughout this year. I've been doing full moon channelings, and that's a theme in this whole year, is expanding our perceptions and being willing to listen beyond the range of normal hearing, to see beyond the range of our normal sight, the normal sight. Thank you, Vanessa. Yes, and amen. Just the colors, the frequencies of light that we can see are fewer than the entire spectrum. So to recognize that our five senses that we've been taught to depend on are only part of the story. So this is an important piece in reclaiming our wholeness, is to expand our perceptions, expanding our perceptions. And this helps with the filtering too, the discriminating about what is true for us on the soul level and what is not. Coming into that consciousness and awareness and of the integrity of our soul and what our soul purpose is and how we bring that through in these times. So what else would guides like to say right now? So they're reminding us, okay, so they're just going to say, do not lose hope, dear ones. Do not lose hope for those of you who are doing this work. of creating this interior health, integrity, coherence. These are difficult and intense times because of all of the energy that is all around, and some of it is difficult. The quality of the energy is chaotic. But to remember that chaos is often the place from which new things birth. And so this is a time, the chaos is actually helping to create this new paradigm on the planet that those of us who are highly conscious have been working towards: the elevation of human consciousness, our ability to restore our partnership with nature so that we can have a world that we can continue to live on. So they're just saying things are happening, that the chaos that you feel now is an opportunity. So to receive this energy as an opportunity and to receive this, to use this time to continue to do this inner work of creating the integrity, creating our sovereignty within, and reconnecting with the natural world. And this helps the collective. And that as we do our own work, they're saying, do it with the intention that we are doing this in order to help heal the collective. And this energy will then begin to spread. And they remind me too, there are many and many and many of us all around the world doing this. We're just not on the news. Okay. So Independence, on Independence Day here in the US, it's about sovereignty within, and it's about healing within and healing the collective from this place of sovereignty, which is also a place of being fully connected with the entire web of life. So blessings, and see you next Wednesday.